My mom said no to helping when my wife was crying loud while having our baby after she used me for my money for many years. So I did one thing that made them not know what to say. I am 31, a man, and have been with my great wife for 6 years. We have a girl who is 3 years old and just had our son a few months ago. That is when all bad things started. But let me go back and tell about the years of bad stuff that led to this. My family never liked my wife, and they did not try to hide it. From the start, they were not nice to her. Why? Because she does not go to their church. My mom and dad go to church a lot, 3 times each week, and say bad things about people who do not go. My mom would say mean things in a nice way, like, "We are praying for you both to come back to God." Or she would ask my wife when she would start going to church. My wife would just smile and talk about something else because she is nicer than I am. My mom and dad do not work now. My dad worked in a factory for 40 years, and my mom worked in an office. They get money from the government, but it is not enough for how they live. So, who do you think has been paying for their things? Yes, me. For the last 5 years, I have been paying for their house, $1,200 each month, their lights and water, $300 to $400 more, their phones, and even giving them money for food most months. Altogether, about $2,000 each month from my money. My wife never said anything bad, even though we could have used that money for our own savings or a better house near a better school. Now, my sister is a different story. She was always the favorite child. When we were growing up, she got everything she wanted, and I had to work hard just to get a little bit of attention. When we were young, she would get new clothes for school, and I got old clothes from our cousin. For her 16th birthday, she got a car. When I turned 16, they told me I could use my mom's car sometimes if I paid for gas. I worked very hard for 3 years to save money for a bad used car that stopped working all the time. Now my sister is married to a man who works with money, and his family has a lot of money. They live in a nice area where all the houses look the same and everyone has a big garage for 3 cars. She does not have a job. She just puts things on the internet about being a mom to boys. She has 3 sons and shares nice sayings with pictures of her perfect house. She is one of those people who writes #blessed on everything, and it makes me want to throw my phone. But here is the thing. Even though my sister and her husband probably make 3 times more money than my wife and I do, and we both work full-time at regular jobs, my mom and dad still wanted me to give them money. They always said, "Your sister is busy with the boys," or "They have to pay for their big house." At the same time, my sister goes on fun trips 4 times each year, while I am here trying to make sure I have enough money to pay for my house and my parents' things. My wife and I have always lived simply. We have a small house with 3 bedrooms in a normal area. We drive used cars that we paid for with our money. We do not go on big trips, maybe just a few days at the beach one time each year. Most of our extra money went to my parents, or we saved it for our kids to go to school later. My wife never once said she did not like this, even though she had every reason to. She would just say, "They are your family." She is a very good person, I tell you. I tried to talk to my sister about helping with our parents a few times. She always had reasons why she could not. She would say the boys' school costs too much money, or they are saving money for a pool, or some other bad reason. Every time I talked to my parents about it, they would take her side. They would say, "Your sister has different things to do." They always thought I would take care of it, but I don't know why. Maybe because I was not smart enough to say yes the first time. The real problem was not even the money, to be honest. It was that they never said thank you or showed they cared. I would bring them money for their house, and instead of saying thank you, they would say things about how my daughter did not have warm enough clothes, or how my wife should go to church. At the same time, my sister would come with nothing, and they would act very happy to see her and her boys. Every holiday was the same. We would come, and my mom would not even say hi to my wife, would not spend time with our daughter, and would spend all the time playing with my sister's kids and saying how great my sister was for taking care of 3 boys. My wife would say she would help in the kitchen, and they would give her easy things to do while my sister sat on the couch looking at her phone. And everyone acted like my sister was a very good person just for being there. I dealt with this because I do not know why. I thought that is what family means, taking care of each other, even when it is not fair.
Also, there was this thing that no one said out loud, that if I stopped helping, I would be the bad person, the son who does not care about his parents, the man who cannot take care of his family. My sister made me feel this way every time she could, saying small things about how nice I was to help in a way that made it seem like I was just trying to show how good I was. Writing this story makes me mad now. I think about how I should have said no years ago. I should have set rules and asked for things to be fair, but I did not. And things kept going the same way until my wife was going to have our son, and then everything became a big problem. When she was pregnant, the problems in my family became too big to ignore. My mom and dad barely cared about the baby, treating it like it was not important compared to what my sister was doing. And my sister was too busy putting nice sayings on the internet and planning another trip to even act like she cared. At the same time, my wife was very tired, trying to work, go to the doctor, and take care of our daughter, while I tried to keep up with everything, including still paying my parents' bills. Every time I said I needed help, my mom would say, "God will help us," and my sister would say, "You chose to do this." It became more clear each day that when my parents or my sister needed something, I had to stop everything to help them, but when we needed help, we had to do it alone. And I guess I should not have been surprised when I found out for sure the night my wife started having our baby. Last month, my wife started having our second baby. It was 2 in the morning, 3 weeks before we thought it would happen. Both of us were very scared, not just because the baby was coming early, but because we had our 3-year-old daughter to take care of while we needed to go to the hospital. The person who usually watches our daughter is a college student who lives near us, but I could not call her at 2 in the morning. We were scared and did not know what to do. My wife was having pains every few minutes, and I was running around the house like crazy, trying to get the bag for the hospital, find my keys, and figure out what to do with our daughter. I called my mom. This was the first time I ever asked her to help with our daughter. I was not asking her to watch my daughter for a whole week, just for a few hours because it was an emergency and my wife was having the baby. I said, "Mom, I need your help," trying to keep my voice from shaking. "My wife is having the baby. It is happening now. I need someone to watch Mia while I take her to the hospital." There was a quiet moment. Then my mom's voice came, sounding weak and strained. She said, "Oh, my dear, I cannot help tonight. My joints hurt very bad. I can barely get out of bed. I am very sorry." My heart started beating fast because I was scared. I said, "Mom, I can bring her to you. She will mostly sleep anyway." "It is the middle of the night," she sighed, and her voice still sounded weak and helpless. She said, No, I just can't. I am in too much pain. I cannot possibly take care of a 3-year-old right now. You know how much she moves around. Our daughter is really the calmest child in the world. She will sit and color for hours, not like she is jumping all over the house." I felt something break inside me. I was frustrated, could not believe it, and felt hurt, all mixed up in a tight feeling in my chest. This showed me what I had always been afraid of. My family thought I was useful, not important. My wife was holding the kitchen counter, her face showing she was in pain, telling me we had to go now. And there I was in my kitchen, asking my own mother for help she would never give. I was angry, but I was also scared, and I did not have time to think about it. I needed someone, anyone to help. So I did something I knew would not work, but I tried anyway. I sent a message to my sister. "Emergency. Wife is having baby. Needs someone to watch Mia for a few hours." She read it right away. The 3 little dots showed that she was going to answer. And then she said, "This is really bad timing. We have to get up early with the boys, and I need sleep. Sorry, can't help." That was all. She did not say she hoped everything went well. She did not say congratulations. Just a bad excuse, and she said no. Like I was asking her to watch my daughter for fun, not because my wife was about to have a baby. I looked at my phone, my stomach felt bad, and then I put my phone in my pocket. Of course, the favorite child had spoken. I was desperate and had to do something. I started calling my friends, my hands shaking as I pressed the numbers. Most did not answer because, it was 2 in the morning. But then finally, my friend Mike answered. This man lives 30 minutes away, has to work in the morning, but he did not wait. He said, "I am on my way." He did not ask questions, he did not wait. And that is when I knew that family is not just the people you grew up with. It is about the people who come when you need them. Mike got to our house at about 2:30 in the morning. By this time, my wife was having pains every 4 minutes. We drove fast to the hospital, and we almost did not make it in time. Our son was born at 5 in the morning. He was healthy, but small because he came early. My wife was amazing through all of it, very strong. After I made sure they were both okay and resting, I went back to get our daughter from Mike's house at about noon. I wanted to bring her to meet her new brother. Mike's wife did not go to work that day to help with my daughter. She made her pancakes for breakfast and even fixed her hair in a nice way. These people are very good. On the way back to the hospital, I remembered we needed the extra part for the baby's car seat that we keep at my parents' house for when they sometimes watch our daughter. I was very tired, had no sleep, and was feeling emotional from the birth, but I thought I would just stop by, get it fast, and go to the hospital. I used my key to open the door. I have had a key for years because I am always checking on them or fixing things at their house. It was around dinner time. I walked in, and the first thing I heard was laughing, a lot of laughing. I followed the sound to the dining room, and what did I see? A big family dinner. My sister, her husband, their 3 boys, and my parents were all sitting around the table like a perfect family picture. Good food, wine glasses, everything. And my mom, the one who could barely move this morning because her joints hurt, was running after my 4-year-old nephew in the living room, tickling him while he laughed loud. Everyone stopped moving when they saw me standing there. The laughing stopped right away. My mom's face looked strange for a second, like she felt bad, but then she looked annoyed, like I did something wrong by coming without telling them. She said, "Oh, we were not expecting you," sounding nervous. "How is everything?" She did not even remember my wife was having the baby, or she did not care. No one at the table asked about my wife or the baby. My sister just looked at me like I was stopping something important. My dad looked down at his plate. The quiet was very loud. I was standing there in the same clothes from last night, probably looking very bad, holding my keys, and something in me just broke. "So you are too sick to help your own son when his wife is having a baby, but you are fine having a dinner?" I asked, my voice strangely calm even though I was very angry. My mom immediately got defensive. She said, "It is not a dinner party. It is just family, and your sister needed help with the boys today." I looked at my sister, who suddenly found her food very interesting. She would not look at me. I said, "Her husband is right there, and he does not work on Fridays. But yes, she needed help." My dad finally spoke. He said, "Son, your mother has been standing all day. She is in pain, but still helping your sister." I said, "But she could not push through the pain for me, for her grandchild being born?" My voice was getting louder now. My mom said, "That is different," and waved her hand in a way that made me very angry. I shouted, "How is it different? Because it is me asking? Because my wife is not good enough for you? Because we do not go to your church?" My sister's husband, who I don't actually hate, just does not understand how our family works, looked very uncomfortable. The kids had become quiet, so I made my voice a little softer. I said, "My wife had our baby today. Our son was born at 5:13 this morning. Not that any of you cared to ask." I said, "I had to ask a friend to watch my daughter because my own mother lied about being too sick to help." My mom started to cry, which she always does when she is in trouble. She said, "I was not lying. I just tried to feel better because your sister—" I stopped her. I said, "Save it. I understand now. I have never been important in this family. The only thing you care about from me is my money." At that moment, my sister stood up fast with her hands up like she was trying to calm someone down. She said, Okay, let's not make a scene," in a voice that sounded nice but was tight, and she looked at her husband's parents like this was a problem for her. She said, "You are obviously upset. Why don't you just go home, calm down, and we will talk later, okay?" Like I was a crazy person ruining her nice dinner. Like I was the one who should be embarrassed. And that is when I really got angry. I laughed loud and shook my head. I said, "Oh, I understand now. You do not care that mom and dad treat me like a money machine. You do not care that I have spent years paying their bills while you sit in your perfect house putting pictures of yourself on the internet with #blessed. You just do not want your husband's parents to see what a bunch of money-taking users you all are." Her husband's parents, who had been quiet until now, suddenly looked very interested in their wine glasses. Her husband moved in his seat, clearly understanding that this was not just a small family problem, but something much worse. My sister's face turned white, and she took a quick step toward me and spoke quietly. She said, "Oh my God, can you not do this right now?" She said in an angry voice, her eyes looking crazy, like she could still pretend everything was fine if I just stopped talking and left. But I was not finished. I said, "No, I am doing this right now. I am sick of this whole fake act. Mom and Dad treat you like a queen, while I pay for everything they need, and you let it happen. Do you know what the worst part is? If I had not come in on this dinner, you would have let me keep paying their bills forever while they lied to me. And now that I am done, suddenly I am the bad guy?" I turned to my parents and said in a sharp voice, "You did not need me when I called you at 2 in the morning, but you need me now that the bank is calling. Funny how that works." Silence. Heavy. Awkward. Exactly what they deserved. My sister tightened her jaw, looking back at her husband's parents like she could still fix this. She said quietly, "You are acting crazy." I breathed out hard and looked at them. I said, "No, I just finally see how things really are. And guess what? The money machine is closed for good." Without saying anything else, I walked to the closet, got the car seat part, and went to the door. But before I left, I stopped and turned back one last time. I said, "Oh, and that money for the house that I usually pay on the first day of the month, do not expect it ever again. You are on your own now." My mom made a sound like I had hit her. She said, "You cannot do that. We are your parents." I looked at her scared face without showing any feeling. I said, "Watch me." Then I walked out and did not look back. I got in my car. My hands were shaking so much I could barely put the key in to start the car. What had just happened? What I had just said hit me all at once. 6 years of paying their bills, house money, lights and water, everything, just like that. And you know what is strange? I did not feel bad. I felt happy it was over. I drove to the hospital, picked up my wife and new son, got our daughter from Mike's house, and went home. Our daughter was very happy about her baby brother. My wife knew something was wrong and asked what happened. I told her everything. She just listened, then hugged me hard and said, "It is about time." Then I got my computer, went into every account that was connected to my parents, and started stopping the payments. House payments stopped, lights and water stopped, phone plan stopped, food money stopped, not one more cent. Every payment I had set up for them, years of my hard-earned money going to their lives without even a thank you, was stopped in just a few minutes. With each payment I stopped, I felt lighter, like I was getting rid of a weight that was never really mine to carry. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and about 30 messages. I am not kidding. My mom, my dad, my sister, all calling and messaging me like it was the end of the world. I did not read most of them. I just looked through them fast to make sure there was not a real emergency. My mom's messages started with trying to make me feel bad. She said, "How could you embarrass us like that in front of everyone? And after everything we have done for you." Then they changed to pretending they cared. They said, "We are worried about you. You are not acting like yourself." By the next day, they started to threaten me. They said, "Your father is talking to his friend who is a lawyer about this." About what? Me not giving them free money anymore? Good luck with that. My sister's messages were just what you would expect from her. All about how I ruined a nice family dinner and made mom cry, and how I was always so jealous of her. Not one word about my new baby son or my wife who just had a baby. I blocked all their numbers without answering them. It felt good, I will not lie. Then the real crazy stuff started. My phone started ringing with numbers I did not know. I answered one, and it was my aunt, my mom's sister, telling me how worried everyone was and how I needed to fix things with my parents before it was too late. I hung up and blocked her too. Then people from their church, people I barely know, started calling to tell me how disappointed they were in me. They said I should honor my father and mother because it is a rule from God. I blocked them too. The best one was an old lady from their church, who I have maybe met 2 times, calling to tell me that my mother was very worried and not sleeping because of me. I actually laughed and said, "Well, now she knows how it feels to be up all night with a new baby," and hung up. My wife was amazing through all of this. She is on time off from work for the baby, getting better after having the baby, taking care of our new baby, and still keeping our daughter happy, all while I am dealing with this family problem and trying to go back to work. I only took 1 week off because we need the money, especially now that I am not paying for my parents anymore. About a week after everything happened, my sister came to our house. Luckily, I was at work, but my wife was home with the kids. My wife said my sister rang the doorbell about 20 times, then started shouting through the mail slot like a crazy person. My wife did not answer, she just sent me a message to tell me what was happening. Our neighbor came over and asked my sister if she needed to call the police. My neighbor said my sister turned very white and left. I have not seen her since, but the money problems hit them faster than I thought they would. About 3 weeks after I stopped paying their bills, my dad called from a new number I hadn't blocked yet. He said, "The electric company is going to turn off our power." He didn't even say hello. He said, "And the house company called because we are late." I said, "That sounds like a problem you need to solve." He said, "Son, we are your parents. You cannot just leave us with no help like this. What are we going to do?" I said, "Well, Dad, you could get a part-time job. Mom could babysit for money instead of for free for my sister. You could sell that boat you never use. You could move to a smaller house. You have choices." He said, "At our age, who is going to hire us?" I said, "Walmart hires people to say hello. Home Depot has many retired people working there. Or you could ask your favorite child for help for once." There was a long, quiet moment. He said, "Your sister has her own expenses." I said, "So do I, Dad. Like a new baby, for example. You can try asking her husband since you all have been having dinner and acting like family." He said, "This is not like you, son. Your mother thinks you are having some kind of mental problem." I had to laugh at that. I said, "The mental problem was letting you guys use me for years. Tell Mom I said hi." Then I hung up and blocked that number too. The most sad try came about a month after the big fight. My dad sent me an email because he could not call, and the subject said, "Health emergency." My heart actually dropped for a second. Even with everything, they are still my parents. I opened it and found a long story about how my mom's blood pressure was very high because of the stress I was causing, and how the doctor said she might have a stroke if things kept going this way. The email ended with, "We just thought you should know what you are doing to your mother's health." I am not a doctor, but I am pretty sure blood pressure does not work that way. And even if it did, it is not my job to keep my mom healthy by giving them thousands of dollars each month. I did not answer the email, but I did send it to my sister with a short message. I said, "Your turn." She never answered. At the same time, my real family, my wife and kids, were doing very well. Our son started sleeping for 3 to 4 hours at a time, which felt like winning a prize after those first few weeks of waking up every hour. My wife's parents came to visit for a week to help, and it was actually nice. They cooked, helped with the kids, and never once said mean things in a nice way or asked for money. A strange idea, I know. About 2 months after everything happened, we were starting to feel good as a family of 4, and we were actually putting money into savings instead of sending it to my parents. It felt like we could finally relax. Then one Saturday morning, I was in the front yard with my daughter, teaching her how to ride her new bike without the small wheels. She is not afraid. A car I did not know came to our house. At first, I thought it was just someone turning around in our driveway. My mom and dad got out, looking like they had gotten 10 years older since the last time I saw them. My daughter saw them before I could do anything and yelled for her grandparents, because, of course, she does not understand what is happening. My mom immediately put on a very sweet smile that did not look real and started walking toward my daughter with her arms open. I moved between them faster than I thought I could. I kept my voice calm because my daughter was right there and asked them what they were doing at our house. My mom acted like it was the most normal thing in the world. She said they came to see their grandchildren, especially the new baby they had not met yet. I told them they were not invited and needed to leave. My dad stepped forward, with his hands in his pockets, looking uncomfortable, and asked me to please let them see the baby because my mother had been very upset. I said something not nice, then asked my daughter to go inside and tell my wife we had visitors. She looked confused but went inside. My mom tried to follow her, but I stopped her. I told her strongly that she was not coming in and not seeing the baby. She lost that right when she lied about being too sick to help us and then tried to get my daughter from school without asking. My mom tried to say it was a misunderstanding, but I told her she lied about a family emergency. My wife came to the door, looked at them, and closed it. That is when my dad finally told me the real reason they were here. The bank was going to take their house, and they needed money. I asked if they had asked my sister, and my mom said something about my sister saving money for a pool. Of course, I told them I was not their plan to save them anymore. They had not even asked my son's name, and when my mom guessed the wrong name, I told her his name was James.
Named after the grandparent who actually cared. My mom cried about losing their house, but I told her that was their problem, not mine. Then, trying one last time, she yelled about having the right to see my kids. I stopped that right away. My dad saw it was over and tried to get her to leave, but she just looked at me like I was the one who had been bad to them. As they got in the car, I heard her say they should have gone to a lawyer first. Then they drove away, and I just stood there breathing. My wife asked if I was okay, and for the first time in a long time, I really was okay. A few weeks after that, I heard from someone we both know that my parents were so desperate they went to my sister's husband's parents for money. They showed up without telling anyone at a nice dinner party my sister and her husband were having with his parents. My mom acted like a poor, sad grandmother, talking about how they were going to lose their house because their ungrateful son, that's me, had left them with no help. What they did not expect was that my sister's husband would actually speak up. He remembered that night when I found them all having dinner while my wife was having the baby. He told them in front of his parents that he saw how they lied about being too sick to help with my daughter, but were fine having a family dinner just a few hours later. He told them directly that he did not want to give money to people who treated their own son that way. My mom tried to tell a story about how it was all a misunderstanding, but my sister's husband's father, who is apparently a businessman who does not like nonsense, just asked her why they could not move to a smaller house or get part-time jobs like other retired people. My dad said something about his age, and my sister's husband's mother said that her own father still worked part-time at 75 years old. My sister, seeing her chance to get money from her husband's parents going away, started to defend our parents, which led to a big fight with her husband right in front of everyone. The person who told me this said it got bad fast. Her husband asked why she never helped take care of our parents if they were so important to her. My sister called me during that time. When I answered, she did not even say hello. She just started screaming. She said, "You ruined everything!" She yelled so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. When I asked what she was talking about, she got very angry, saying I made her husband's parents not like our parents on purpose to get back at her, that I was jealous of her life and wanted to ruin her marriage. According to her, I had been acting like I was suffering for years by saying I would take care of our parents' money just to make her look bad. And now I tried to ruin her relationship with her husband's family by making her look like a person with no heart who would not help her own parents. She actually said, "My marriage is ending and it is all your fault." Then she hung up on me. I just sat there looking at my phone, thinking how crazy it was that even now she could not see that she was part of the problem too. The night ended with my sister and her husband leaving in different cars, and my parents being driven home by one of the dinner guests.
Which was awkward. The next day, my sister apparently called my parents and blamed them for embarrassing her in front of her husband's parents. My mom said back that my sister was not grateful after all they had done for her. The favorite child treatment was definitely going away. Within a week, people were saying that my sister and her husband were going to a marriage counselor. My parents had to sell their house and move into a very small apartment, and my dad got a job saying hello to people at a big store. My sister said they could not live with her, even though she has 4 empty bedrooms in her big house. The last thing happened when my mom told my sister to sell some of her expensive bags to help with their bills. My cousin told me that my sister actually screamed that this was all my fault for ruining everyone's lives. It is funny how fast the favorite child treatment goes away when money is involved, and the person who always helped, me, is not there anymore. And yes, it has been 6 months now. Our son is crawling and getting into everything. Our daughter started school and loves it. We moved into a house in a better school area. Nothing special, just a good house with 4 bedrooms and a nice yard. The house payment is actually less than what we were paying for our old house plus my parents' bills, which is very funny. Last week, we took the kids to the park. As I pushed my daughter on the swing, with my wife sitting nearby with the baby, I realized something. I am happy, truly happy, without the constant drain of my bad family's demands and expectations. I can focus on what really matters: my wife, my kids, our future together. Sometimes standing up for yourself means walking away from people who have known you your whole life. And sometimes that is exactly what you need to do to start really living. My daughter laughed with joy as the swing went higher. My son made happy sounds in my wife's arms. This right here is what family should feel like. Not feeling like you have to, or feeling bad, or constant demands, just love.